Hey guys, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear me alright. It's been a while since I've done any streaming, but I have had a week of it and just needed to chill out and do some painting. So I thought I'd hang out and see how everybody was doing. What's occurring? What's new with everyone? What have I got here? That is a rubbish brush. Okay, Black Orcs, let's get you done. So let's do all the big guys here. Hearing you five, brilliant. Rob, how are you? How's the family? Are you guys feeling better now? You've had a pretty horrible time of it. I hope you've been alright. To be fair, it's been a pretty horrible year, hasn't it? So that's... I can't believe just how long the apocalypse has been going on for. Let's pump up the Discord as well, just to see if anybody else wants to join in. There we go. Cool. Right, so we are going to be... I'm going to carry on painting my Black Orcs. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'm sure that when I pick them up and stuff it'll be alright. Bit dark actually. That's a little bit better. Fantastic. Still bad, but getting their kids seem okay. That's brilliant news. Not the bit that you're not great, but that the kids are alright. That's kind of the one blessing of the situation, is that kids, hopefully the ones that are too young to kind of understand what's going on, should bounce back. Hi Jenna, love your videos. You got me into Blood Bowl last summer. Just bought some of the new teams, a new rulebook over Christmas. Hi Jenna, that's fantastic. How you doing? You bought some new teams. Come on man, what did you get? Gotta know now. Gotta know. Ah, there's my red. There we go. There's my red. Right. This is the boring bit of the painting that I absolutely hate, which is the doing the block colours and stuff. Like blocking in all the colours. Old Ian Warham Hannam is pretty good at like giving some tips and things, and he's always said that, you know, block in all the colours and then you can do some work around. I've lost my little puddle of water now. Let's go over here. Okay, before I get in trouble with you guys in chat, this is a laminated bit of wood, so it's like a tile. I got told off before for not using a tile. Right, what am I doing with the red? Do I even need the red right now? Not particularly. I've mixed up a bit of the red now, so we'll do some of the fun bits, and we'll do this here. So has anybody been painting up teams ready for the new edition? Getting some practice games in, I'm sure. It's actually pretty hard to get practice games in now. We've had a look at Tabletop Simulator. I know that Mike Davies was doing some stuff on Tabletop Simulator today, I think I read. And that's cool. It's pretty good. It's kind of like Roll20 in that you've got to do everything. It's not, you know... The ideal situation will be when Fumble catches up with the edition. And we can just absolutely farm Blood Bowl 20 games through, because that's what I'm really looking forward to doing, is building up the teams and seeing how the SPPs and stuff go. Hey Triple Pow, how you doing? Can't wait to play you at how many games have we played now, Ian? One? Is it just the one at Beachhead? And that was a heck of a game. 3-2? I can't imagine I'll get away that lightly again, but that was in the highlights of Chaos of Skaven. Harjinder, Chaos Chosen, Dwarves and Skaven. Really want Games Workshop to release Chaos Dwarves. Absolutely. Really looking forward to Chaos Dwarves coming up. So I'm doing the team development videos and stuff, and I think literally every single team I've managed to get myself excited for how the team's going to play out. And doing the Chaos Dwarf one, I think they've got the best Minotaur, and I know that I think it's suboptimal to play the Minotaur on Chaos Dwarves too early on, but I think it's the best one. I mean, yeah, you lose your Hobgoblins, and it's not as cheap as it is for other teams, because 40k is it's not Snotlings, but 40k is not bad to make a Minotaur blitz. What's the colour scheme you changed with the Black Orcs? Tiff basically said you should do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was before they destroyed the Packers in the NFC Championship last weekend, which is sad. So kind of like a bronze, red and black are my 3 colours. Where's my guy that's kind of... So I've blocked in all the colours on him. He was kind of my test piece. So it's black, gold, and then red for the straps and things to add a bit of pop. That's kind of what I'm going for. Wasn't expecting it to end up like this. Wasn't expecting the scheme to end up like this. But sometimes they just paint themselves, don't they? Trip says Beachhead is the only one. I can't believe, Ian, all those times at our league, all the times at Wobble, and you and I never got a game in. And now we're going to have to wait a few more weeks, I imagine. Have we even played on Fumble? At least we will be playing on Fumble. So guys, full disclosure, I'm not going to be painting this very carefully. I'm going to block in the colours and then tidy up a bit later on, and then do the classic Ben thing of flood the miniature with Agrax and then highlight up again if I can be bothered, which I'm sure I will be, because these are actually lovely miniatures. Yeah, Rob says Chaos Dwarves will be amazing. They will. There's a ton. Oh, Rob, have you seen? There's another Chaos Dwarf team. I meant to post it on your 3D printing page. From a third party. They've got some really cool Chaos Bull Centaurs and some Chaos Dwarves that I think, with open hands, would make great Chaos Dwarf blockers. But I think for me it's the Hobgoblins at the issue. I'm really interested to see how Games Workshop are going to do the Hobgoblins, what style they're going to be like. Because the Goblins are awesome, but Hobgoblins are not goblins. They really are kind of like dodgy human people. Kind of like Klingons in the original series. Am I using the right green for this? Yeah, I am. JG, when do you think the next Spike magazine will come out? Now, I'm really hoping it's this month. We've got the 2-star players coming out from Forge World this month, which is cool and all, but I don't know. Well, okay, I think this month is optimistic. I think April. I think April will be when it is. I hope so, anyway, because I've just done I've just recorded the February meta, and every time I do that, Games Workshop drops something afterwards to make it out of date. They did last time, I think. I think after the first episode they did it, and then they dropped the FAQ. What do we got? What do we got? Hey Chris, how you doing? Currently painting up his Black Orcs blue and white, named the New Orc Giant. I saw them actually, they look really good. I never twigged that they were yours, Chris. That's awesome. A nice kind of sky blue on those. I liked it. I'm not so bold with my colour choices when it comes to Blood Bowl. I am a bit more with the nobility. And I'm also looking forward to painting up, kind of going Miami Dolphins kind of colours. Haven't figured out how to get the orange in there. I'll probably do what I've done with this team and just add the orange into as the straps, maybe the gloves. Use the orange as the accent. It's going to be the brightest I think I've ever painted a Blood Bowl team, which I think is good paint experience for me because I tend to just stick to darkish colours. Triple Pow, nothing coming this month. Next preview, then wait and hope. Do you think they'll wait to the preview trips? Or do you think they'll use the pitch side reports? Because they seem to be previewing stuff in the previews that they've already previewed before. So I wonder if they'll wait. Like, I wonder if they'll bother waiting all the way through. Right. You know, I really like painting with this camera. It's a bit weird at first, but I can I paint using the PC screen? No, I can't. Right, let's not try that. That's a terrible idea. Right, I think this guy's getting black pants and a red strap, so I don't have to worry too much about detail there. Right, where's my water? I think I need the water a bit closer. I need to mix up this green, because this green dries out really quickly. Deathworld Forest. I'm supposed to be using 2 thin coats, I know. What would Duncan do? Well, he'd leave Games Workshop and paint historical and Star Wars miniatures. That's what he would do. And he'd do a very good job too. Well, that went a bit wide. Well, sugar plums. It'll be done. Gloves? Nah, it's not gloves. He's got nails, so those are not gloves. I've already tried one green skin tone with these guys and had to kind of change my mind on it because it came out a bit dark. Preview then pitch side. Don't think anything coming for a while. Trips. I think you're probably about right. But that's okay. I mean, we haven't really had a chance to play with this stuff. And by haven't really, I mean haven't at all really. So I think it's probably alright if we get a little bit longer. When's UK lockdown due to end now? Is it the middle of March? So then we go into tiers. So maybe after Easter we can get stuff back onto the tabletop. That's only a couple of months, he says, exaggerating heavily. You know, I don't know, 2 months. That's all right. We can get some teams painted ready. And I spent a little bit of time today looking through the painting competition. There's some really good stuff. Talking of painting competition, here's Mr. Crudy. Hey Drew, how you doing? That's the same name I have for his orcs. Oh yeah. The New Orc Giants is a solid name choice. I actually really like the Black Orc miniatures. I think they're lovely. And Drew painted his up looking like Pittsburgh Steelers with big old white gloves. I'm not a big Steelers fan. They play real defensive football, which is awesome. I love defensive Blood Bowl, but as a spectator, I think offensive American football is more exciting. And the Steelers just have a horrible habit of beating the Packers, which I think is probably the main reason. But then, I say, the Packers beat them in a Super Bowl the other year, but that other year was 10 years ago now, so how time flies, eh? It's funny, I've got exactly the same playlist on as when I was streaming in like, when was it? June, July last year maybe? It's taking me back to the other place. I think I keep hitting my camera, I don't know. I do. Trip said, order a pyrograph pen wood burner today. Nice. Got a mark label like the big hobby gifts in my tabletopper. That tabletopper thing you've built is insane, Trips. Like, seriously cool work. And the other thing you're working on for your dad is pretty sweet. I'm going to assume your dad's not going to be watching this stream so that we can talk about it. Like a big old train setup, isn't it? It's very cool. Love the base coating. I tried to go with a fancy paint scheme on the skin. Like I tried to mix it in with some dark oath brown to kind of give it actual skin hues. It just came out garbage. It just came out looking like a cheap, like, plastic toy. It looked like a monster in my pocket. It was not good. Felt a little bit disrespectful to the Black Orc team. The Black Orc team was the team I was the most excited to play, but now I think I'm going to have a bit of a crossover with Ben Bloodtithe, because he's all about the nobility, and how are we doing on this one? I've got some bits to do. Is it all right? Yeah, I've got some bits to do. It's fine. But now I'm really feeling the nobility. I think they're a really interesting team. I think they're subpar, and there's just a part of me that just wants to make them achieve, even though they're not very good. I say not very good, they're fine, but do you know what I mean? Mitch Wade, Orc Obama. Always one of my teams. Orcs just lend themselves to brilliant team names, don't they? How does everyone feel about the animosity change to Orcs in 2020? Because I'm not sure if it's... I mean, it's kind of thematic, I'll give you that. You know, in fantasy, Orcs had the animosity thing, and Orcs always want to be the best all the time. So it kind of get it from a theme point of view, but from a play point of view, I don't think it really, it shouldn't affect anything too much. But it just seems a bit of an unnecessary penalty. But I'm sure all coaches will get by it, because the animosity, I guess it is Orky. I don't know whether it's just the name of the rule that makes it feel Orky. I can see them being selfish on the pitch, but I thought more like a frenzy or berserker kind of role where they have to block stuff. Maybe even wild animal would have been more sensible. It wouldn't have been. That would have been absolutely awful. But you know, don't know. I like orcs. I think the black orc +1 speed thing was pretty good as well. Trip says, it's been too long waiting for me and the lizards. We'll wait for some mixed fun someday. I'm enjoying throw teammate bombs too much. Tempted with old orcs or something with a small guy to throw. I think the goblins on orcs are incredibly underrated. Like, yeah, they're speed 6, which doesn't feel very fast, but the rest, they're the fastest player on the team, with the exception of the blitzer. And adding a bit of speed is never a bad thing. But because they're stunty, alright, yeah, you got the throw teammate, which is always really good. But because they're stunty, they can just run through stuff, and that is incredibly useful. Mitch Wade, love naming orc players too. Alright, Mitch, what have you got? Let's have a couple of classics. I do tend to use name generators for my guys. I think we've been playing like loads of ogres and stuff over the years, and unfortunately Skaven linemen, where they die a lot. I don't tend to name them until they do something, or with at least the little guys. The Skaven ones, they always get a name generator name, apart from Buzz Justice, who's my blitzer. Again, I think that was a name generator thing back in the old days when I used to run a 2-man league with Craig. And every Sunday night we'd watch the NFL and play a couple of games in our little mini league. When was that? That must have been 2006, 2007. It was like during the break from Warhammer. That's all we used to do. Right, his skin is done. So his skin is done, so let's do this guy's skin. Hey Burfsky, how are you? What's occurring? I've had a bad week. Tiff's at work, so I wanted to just chill out and paint for a few hours. Didn't get a chance to do it last night, wanted to, but I ended up doing virtual interviews until, I don't know, like nearly 8 o'clock last night. And I was going to do some painting. In fact, I did do a little bit of painting. I didn't want to stream because I didn't think I'd be very good company, so I watched Ian Warhannam Hannam play Fumble against Milton. Milton's running Bretonians in our Fumble League while he can. It's been really cool to see the Bretonian team do its thing, actually. I've played a lot of Bretonians in 7s. I've played them far. Have I even played against them in 11s? I played them on a tabletop, actually. Probably played them on BB2 online or something, but nothing so much. I'm working this weekend, so just on my break quickly, but I thought I'd drop on by. Oh, thanks, man. How's it going? What's new? What's occurring? As they say. One of my classic names, Edwards. Hey, Clive the Kiwi. How's the Halfling team? How's it coming along? Have you started building it yet? Clive just recently picked up his second Blood Bowl team and went with Halflings. Have you picked up your trees yet? Because I actually do like the Games Workshop tree. One of the crew, Stephen, converted his with legs from Age of Sigmar guys. What are the tree people called in Age of Sigmar? Kurnoth Hunters. Got some Kurnoth Hunters like spare pieces, I think spare legs, and just made the tree man like actual tree man height. And it looked really good. He did a great job. Clive Kiwi, the trees are sold out on the New Zealand Games Workshop site. That is garbage. That is incredibly bad news. Dear me. Now, if you are intent on going Games Workshop, then that's cool. But I think Treeman are probably the easiest the easiest big guy or something to find suitable alternatives from. I don't know if you've got like a stock of Reaper miniatures over in New Zealand or not, but they do some very good proxy trees. That's where I got my golems from. Very busy, that supermarket life. Oh yeah, I'm sure you know, absolutely. Need to send you my picture of the January painting cop. Yes, you do, man. Pop them in to us tomorrow if you can, because I need to get that out to Ian and Bloodtide so we can choose them. It's been cool. We've had so much cool stuff come in. It's really good. I'm looking forward to our February competition. That's going to be kind of more classic Bonehead. We were going to do it for January, but honestly just ran out of time. There's just so much going on, like in Hobbyland and not in Hobbyland. Ben and Ian have been very good at telling me not to overdo stuff, which I do tend to do. Right, is that foot? Is that sock? Is that armour? Alright, it's armour now. Alright, the cool thing is because this green the green, brown and gold are all kind of similar shades, so once the Agrax goes on, it will kind of, anything I haven't painted quite right will hopefully just blend into as depth, he says, hopefully. Slabanaka. Dean, how you doing? Just dropped in and I see you're painting goblins. Make me feel bad because I should be painting my goblins. Don't feel bad. Painting is there's like a season to it, like an internal season. You got to feel like painting because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work actually. Like there are some people out there, no names, Ian Wanham Hannam, who paints things in an incredibly short window of time to an incredibly good standard, and it's painful. It's painful because I tell you what, I can prime, base and spray brown miniatures like nobody else. I guarantee you no one else can prep minis as quickly as I can and then leave them in that brown state. Probably why Skaven are my favourite team, because generally speaking you can paint a Skaven team with a coat of brown, some Agrax and one colour of your choice. I like that. Clive, my local store is a Games Workshop store, so third party is not really an option. Ooh. Alright. I tell you what, if you've got time, then to be fair, waiting for those trees is probably the right thing to do then. I mean, alternatively, you can get the Kurnoth Hunters, or quite frankly, and this is going to sound like pushing, but it's only going to save you cash. Just pick up a cup. I just picked up an ogre team, and use 2 ogres as your treeman for now. And then if you kind of tie the paint scheme together, you can use the ogre and some halflings when you know, go for a human team. Anyway, the name of my halfling team is the Seaton Friars, a pun on my first football team I played for, which is the Seaton Flyers. That's awesome. That is awesome. Dean says, I'm so glad someone else out there feels the same way. Painting is such a chore sometimes. It really is. It's funny. There's like an initial rush of, oh my goodness, I've got the potential for this awesome hobby project. Like, we're starting out on this adventure, and then you build them, you prep them, you convert them, and you're like, yeah. And you spend some time picking some colours, and then it's like, yeah. And then you know what happens? The next project comes along, and that is basically what happened to this poor fella. I'll paint him eventually, but I am happy. Ooh, can I do this without knocking everything over? I am happy with this guy though. It's not the best, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out in the end. I'm quite happy with my orange. I'm looking forward to doing the rest of the Underworld team, because bright orange is fun, and the Browntown Steamers will actually perform pretty well, I think, in the new edition. Underworld's got a pretty tasty jump. Pretty sizable bump up. Hello, dog. Yeah. There we go. Now, excited to see how the Black Orcs play out in League. And we can finally find out whether block is needed or whether you can skip it and go straight for Mighty Blow and Guard. I mean, block is better, but I think Brawler and Guard is better than simply just block, or Brawler and Mighty Blow is simply better than just block. I mean, I could be wrong, and we'll find out, but that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it because that's how I want to play. You know, you build your Chaos blockers, you build the Saurus blockers, and you're like, right, I'll be sensible, I'll give them block. And it's just kind of like, it doesn't feel any more exciting, it doesn't feel any more spicy. So I'm pretty much hoping. I played a few games with the Black Orcs, and I'm pretty sure Brawler did a great job. Might just be that I was lucky, and my opponent was going toe-to-toe against me and probably shouldn't have done. It's not fair, actually. The Goblin team didn't go toe-to-toe against me. And the Wood Elves certainly didn't. But in that case, just blitzing with Strength 4 is awesome. Because, yeah, they can disengage like nothing, but every blitz is a 2-die block, so you don't even need to do any positioning. No, you don't need to go for the support. Hey, someone's just sent in another competition entry. That's brilliant. This is quite good, actually, using the camera. Right, Dean, I've got the same Punga Rat Ogre from my Underworld. Starting to paint him up like Blanca from Street Fighter has run out of flesh tones. I love that. I think that's great. That's very creative. What is it they say? Necessity is the mother of all invention. Especially when it comes to painting. Mitch Wade, any plans on online games in the future? They made time pass in lockdown. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ben and I want to get some Tabletop Simulator 7s on the go. But with him moving to his new job and me successfully enjoying doing several other people's jobs, we'll get to it this month. There is also another thing I want to do, which is do a Fumble Friday. Like Fumble every Friday at 9 o'clock. Because Tiff's at work, I will always be home by 9 o'clock on a Friday. So I want to kind of get a little group of people together that can run a little league on a Friday night at 9. And then we can just, over the months, just farm some games out. And then every Friday there's a game, and I think that'd be really good fun. And it would also be really nice for me as well, because we've got a little wobble fumble going on at the moment. And it's cool. It's just so nice to have something having a story going on. I thought actually if we have some kind of fumble league going on, that'd be cool to get, again, like I said, just that bit of story, just that bit of regular story. Do you want in, Mitch? We were going to do a fumble league for Bonehead, but then of course there was the NAF one, which isn't a league, it's a tournament, and I totally missed the blooming entry time, didn't I? Again, I got collared by work. We had a fan accident. No one was hurt, which is lovely. It's just a load of paperwork. So I ended up having to do that, and I just completely lost track of time because it just started my day about 4 hours early. And then, boop, realised it was Sunday. I was like, no, missed the deadline. So yeah, I do need to get some more games. And then filming them as soon as it is safe and legal to do so. That is why I am, or at least that's what I'm using to motivate myself to get some teams painted up, so that we can book a spotted in tournament and get a bunch of Blood Bowl games filmed. Finishing up my human team at the moment, just the Forge World Thrower and Catcher left. I really like the Forge World human expansion. I like the Skaven one too, but there's just no point in having that third Blitzer. Yeah, the Forge World expansion packs I mean, it's cool. It was cool, but it didn't entirely hit the spot for kind of what was actually needed. But hey, more Blood Bowl is more better after all, guys. I did log into WhatsApp on the computer. I really, really did. What we got going on? Rich is playing King of Tokyo. That's cool. There we go. And we're back. Oh well, this is a good way to get some painting done. Because I did ask everybody on the YouTubes to kind of help me pick a team to paint, and I'm going to stick to it. I mean, I'm really happy with the Black Orc team. I was really happy with all of them, to be honest with you. Whether it had been Necro, Underworld, the Nobility, or Black Orcs, they're all lovely, and they're all at the classic Ben brown and based paint scheme. But I don't know. It's just a lot of stories that I think all teams are going to achieve. Now, one thing I did see that was quite interesting is there's a tournament going on. Which tournament is it? It's the one in France. It's the one in France, the Snowball XVIII 8. Snowball 8 in France. 2-day tournament, 5 rounds. 3 on the first day, 2 on the second day. It's something I want to get to this year is a 2-day tournament. He says, yeah, sorry. What I want to do to it, the next available chance 2-day tournament would be sweet. I think running one would be even sweeter. But yeah, 5 rounds, and they've got the Necromantic team and the Imperial Nobility team. They've put them in their own tier. They've put them at tier 1.5, which means, so they've done tier 1 at 1.1 million, tier 2 at 1.15. And they've given 30 SPP to tier 1 and 36 SPP for tier 2, but they've moved Necromantic and Imperial Nobility into tier 1 gold and tier 2 skills. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what? Like, I've done a load of builds for tournaments and you can get good lineups in both teams for 1100. I don't know why they're not just leaving them in tier 2. I don't know what they are seeing that's causing them to be boosted, and it's kind of intriguing to me. The Forge World Catcher is a delicate mini. He broke off the base slot, so I had to pin him to the base. Yeah, that's pinning is good hobby. You get points for that, Clive. That's doing it properly, or just out of necessity, maybe. I'm not sure. Old Warhammer's got the Forge World expansion pack for his Tiger Strike people that he hasn't finished, even though I gave him a Old World Alliance team to paint up. Oh, that was last year. That was when Old World Alliance came out, and Ian had started painting his human team. So I was like, right, here's the rest of the box. You know, paint them up, keep them, paint them up as the same scheme, and then we can use them for YouTube and get a game in soon. And then that hasn't happened, obviously. That said, can't complain too much. We've got a good few tournaments on Fumble, and we even had one tournament in real life in October, on Halloween actually, which I hope seems pretty risky. Not from a health and safety point of view, because it was all the guidelines were followed. We stayed in clusters and everything. It was all good. Just it was 2020. Doing anything on Halloween seems like a terrible idea. It just seems like an unnecessary risk, doesn't it? And 2021 seems to be turning up that way. However, we did get brand new Blood Bowl in 2020, and I should be getting married in 2021, so pretty good. Oh wow, not as bad as pinning Vestroyan minis for my guard army. First of all, I love the Vestroyans. Just cool, like essentially steampunk Russians. Right, that's sweet. But steampunk World War One Russians, basically. Awesome miniatures. Like back in the days where they used to do 3 metal miniatures as like just 3 different poses, and that was it. You had to build your unit out of them. Destroyers were cool. It was also like a cool time with lots of variations, wasn't there? So there was the Valhallans, the Winter Dudes, Talan Desert Raiders, the Catachans, although they'd made them plastic I think before the Vestroyans came out, didn't they? But it's just cool to have variety, because I'm not sure they even had any like special faction rules or anything. I think it was just like you and Steel Legion as well. Love Steel Legion. Might have to see if I can pester Blood Tithe. I'm sure he knows of a place where I can get some Steel Legion STLs. I had a big old bottle of resin turn up today, and that's been a lot of fun. I'm looking. Oh, it's the 30th. We're going to be having the new Punga releases. Have to check out the Patreon, see what's coming this month. So I think it's the Underworld team. The Underworld team is pretty cool. I don't think I need one on account of already having an Underworld team, but they're very fun miniatures, and that's cool. Just printing off a bunch of miniatures is really lovely. It's not great for space, and it is certainly a little bit wasteful, but I have bought less hobby stuff due to having a printer. But you know, gotta still do what you gotta do. And what month is it? It's gonna be February soon too, so should be having the Khemri team turn up soon from Vortice. I know that coronavirus has knocked them back. And then Norba. It's probably not till April though, Norba. But ooh, the Norba stuff looks good. A little flat, perhaps, compared to some of the dynamic miniatures Games Workshop are doing. But if Games Workshop are A+, Norba is right up there. Like, we're talking A-, B+ territory. Their knights are awesome. So I think there's going to be a lot of legacy Bretonnian teams / pseudo Imperial teams, and they've got the ogres coming for them as well, and they've not shown or they've not previewed the ogres yet. And if they get the Imperial Nobility ogre right, and they do it for a good price, they could absolutely corner the market there. Because I think there's one good one from Grebo that's got like the Fleur de Lis. But I think that's it. And you cannot get a bunch of feathers anywhere. Clive, Vestroyans had the 4+ armor save because they got Carapace armor in 4th, 5th, and an extra 5-inch range to rapid fire. And heavy weapons. Right. I get the Carapace armor, that's fine. So they're all kind of stormtroopers. That's cool. Probably still BS4+, sorry. But 5 inches. Let's not take that out of context. Adding 5 inches to the range just seems weird because all the ranges were in 6-inch increments, weren't they? So it was like last guns were 24 inches, 12 inches of rapid fire. So they were rapid firing at 17? Hey, Simar, how are you? Grebo Ogre is neat, also lovely. They got 3 versions to choose from. Yeah, I did see that. I think number 2 flagged up when I was looking at some star players. It's definitely worth looking at. So this month Punga are doing the Underworld team, and then the following month they're releasing on their Patreon an unreleased fantasy football team that they've never done before. Now I think they did a poll and it came up Norse. So we could be seeing some cool stuff there. But if they end up doing Bretonnian, kind of jumping on the nobility train, they could be releasing a pretty sweet ogre, because I have yet to really see a Punga miniature that I do not like, with the exception of the multi-breasted Skaven cheerleader lady. I'm afraid that just looks weird. Like, if it's not on Mars, it's just strange. I miss Arnie films too. Yeah, Vestroyans were cool. Vestroyans were cool. I do massively want them to do Epic though, in AT scale, because that would be amazing. Can you imagine that? Hordes of the little infantry flying around. I just want the tanks at 8mm scale. I just want to take an all tank army in Adeptus Titanicus and be that guy. Because I do like tanks an awful lot. They're very cool. And the Imperial Guard tanks are pretty sweet. I just don't want to pay 100 and something pounds for a tank the size of a pack of A4 paper that I could never really do anything with. Right, I've decided that he's wearing gloves on both hands because I cannot tell. Let's get some green on his legs, that's brilliant. Yeah, Greebo Ogre is neat. Okay, we've got 2 more to go with the skin. That's good. 2 more skin to go, and then we're getting the batch painting on. Thank you for those of you who are kicking around asking questions and chatting with me. It's massively, massively appreciated. Definitely helps pass the time. Tab, tab, tab. There we go. And that's what you need sometimes to get some hobby done with a bit of company. Oh, I've lost my page now. There's the page. There's the chat. Clive, the single Ogre Mini went up in price in New Zealand from 47 to 53. $53. Alright, I don't know what the exchange rate is. Let's go. Let's go to xe.com. 57 New Zealand dollars. Excuse me. Alright, 57. To Brexit pounds. £30 for the Ogre. Are you kidding me? Look at that, Clive. No wonder you're on your second Blood Bowl team. They're about 7 times the price of everything else. £30 for the Ogre. Blooming heck, that's crazy. Ah, just phenomenal. It might be a time to get a printer, Clive. 3D printer. Because when you can print a rat ogre for £2, it puts things into perspective. Yeah, maybe. Can recommend. Mitch, which team you ever face and the first thought is pack it up and concede the game? Mine is Snotlings? Right, Mitch, you've got to elaborate now. Why is Snotlings the team you want to auto concede to? Is it the time it takes to move all 75 Snotlings? Because I understand that. God, what team? I hate playing against Dwarves. I really do. It's just a grind from the beginning up. They get so many 1-die blocks that are just good. They're just profitable blocks. It's just horrible. And normally I play fragile teams. So it's really my fault, isn't it? It's really my fault. It's like saying in rock, paper, scissors, I hate people who play rock because I like playing scissors. It's entirely my fault. And I need to learn. That is something I really need to learn with my Skaven, is how to go toe-to-toe with dwarves. No, Ben, do not play Blood Bowl 2. You need to be painting. You need to be painting. Or we could organise a Fumble event where everyone plays dwarves and I just try and take a Skaven team through it. Just try to survive. Like a survival horror on the Blood Bowl pitch. Why does that sound so good? But no, I don't know. Yeah, dwarves are tough. Any team that James House plays as well. That's Dwarf Lord James. I've got him in our Wobble League. I'm running Slan, saying goodbye to the Froggos as they are now. My sweet Edge 4 catchers. He's playing Pro Elves. His Pro Elf team has been decimated, but I know I'm still going to lose to him. He just has crazy luck. Bit of Twitter on the go. Nothing too fun. Oh, this is good. Doing okay. Nearly there with the skin. At least the first coat. Mitch said it was meant to be halflings and the Master Chef always kills me. I need every reroll. Alright, I get that. So I mentioned earlier that I watched a Fumble game last night between Ian Warhannam and Milton, one of the local players. And Ian had 270 or 260k So what he ended up taking was Rumbelow and Mindy Pie Whistle, sorry, Cindy Pie Whistle, and didn't go for the Master Chef. And honestly, I was really surprised to see just how much that affects halflings, because it just takes away so much advantage. That like just having no rerolls means you've got to get everything right every single time. And because halflings have stunty, if you don't have the rerolls and something goes wrong, they can just dodge in and capitalise on every one of your failures. And not being able to have the not like sapping the rerolls, and then not having the extra rerolls that you've stolen to be able to swoop in and capitalise on those like turnovers, it was huge. It cost it in the game. That and using Cindy Pie Whistle, she basically just bombed her own line. Milton's blitzer caught the bomb and then threw it straight back to the ball carrier, basically hit the tree next door to him, and devastation ensued. It was very entertaining. That was the end of the game at that point. Clive says, honestly, Blood Bowl is probably the cheapest Games Workshop product in New Zealand. Oh wow! I also play Imperial Knights. Don't look up the price of them in New Zealand dollars. Oh wow! All right, you can print some Blood Bowl stuff, but if the ogre is £30 essentially, then a team's got to be £45. Like I know that feels like a lot, because in Games Workshop, like in England, Games Workshop in England, you know, it's 20 something pounds. It's very affordable. It's like you can pick up a team a month and, you know, add to the pile of undercoated shame, and it goes quite well. But yeah, when they're paying that much, that's absolutely crazy. Right, this little dude fell off his base, so I'm just gonna paint him off, I think, because might as well. Yeah, I love that. Rest of you in chat, what's your nemesis team? Mine is definitely dwarves, and I would be surprised if there wasn't a couple war people who are like, dwarves are my nemesis. Amazons are always tough to play against as well, but there's a breaking point in Amazons because they've got the low armor. Like, they can go toe to toe really well. Like, they've got a ton of punch that they really shouldn't have. But there's a turning point when you start cracking the armor, and you can get the attrition advantage. When you break the back of it, it's House of Cards essentially. Whereas Skaven's not quite so. Like, they are much more vulnerable, but they're also you don't need as many of them. Whereas Amazons are just slow. They are slow. I know 6 is average, but it's slow. And Skaven linemen are moving 7. Amazons are slow. Oh, I'm so excited about having the first layers of paint done on this team. If I can just get them to block painted level, I'll be super happy. That'll be an actual achievement, like hobby goals and everything. Because I plan to have these teams ready to go, so we can film. Now, Ben's got a lovely nobility team, and Ian's got our Black Orc team for the YouTubes, but I want to just have it ready to go. And also, it'd be nice to start building some identity with the team, because when we come to do 7s, we're going to try and do more viewer-led skill choices and stuff. Not entirely sure how it's going to work, but that's what Ben suggested, and I absolutely love the idea. You know, like, who's going to get the skill? Who gets the skill this time? Alright, sweet. We are done with the first layers of skin. Alright, Clive says most teams are between $75 and $83. The OWA is $83, same with the Chaos version. Excuse me, and Ogres. Yeah, so it's about £45 in English money. That's crazy. That is crazy, man. I imagine the excuse is that it has to be travelled around the other side of the world, which I kind of get, but surely there's a cheaper way of doing it, or is it just import tax? Oh my goodness me, the tree is $60. Alright, I like the tree, but I don't like it that much. It's £35 now for that tree then in New Zealand. Whew, that is a lot of money for the halfling team then at that point. Fortunately, Deeproot is still very good, but he is replaceable on the halfling team. This is straight from Games Workshop. Yeah. Well, hopefully you can. But if your shop is a Games Workshop, that's what you're paying, then, isn't it? I mean, I guess it's. See, this is it. Like, we go through Entoyment for most of our stuff. It's cheaper, but also we are happy to. But it's slightly more expensive than like the bulk online places. It's around about the same, but I'm happy to spend the extra few pounds on a business I want to stay there. So when it comes to a store, if you need the Games Workshop to succeed, going through that Games Workshop is not the worst thing in the world. There are other stores, Games Workshops where I play. Yeah, okay, there you go. If there's brand loyalty, then it's worth the extra $10, I suppose, to get it from where you want to go. Dean says, I dread to think what my Goblin team has cost me to rebuy. I've just paid £20 for a 2nd edition Goblin Chainsaw. You know what though, if you are collecting, then that's absolutely fine. Yeah, it's very tempting. Yeah, I've been eyeing up a 2nd edition Hakflem. I've got the Punga Hakflem, which is cool. Cables everywhere. It's like a cyberpunk hobby sesh here. So you've got this guy to use for Hakflem from Punga. It's great. It's good fun. Come on, focus. Darn you. It's just not quite right. It's not quite right. So having that 2nd edition Hakflem is really tempting. It's cool to be able to print out this guy though. I do think Clive should invest in a printer. Because it sounds like it'd be cheaper for you to get a printer, Clive, than it would be to buy a Skaven team, basically. Dean says he's got the 2nd edition Hakflem and he's over the moon that goblins can now take them. Yeah. Yeah. There's some the star player situation in 2020 is really quite cool. You've got Hakflem, you can basically play for almost everybody. Yeah, basically any kind of evil team with the exception of the dead teams. So that's goblins through to chaos. Hakflem is just your boy. It's amazing. Who's the good guy version of Hakflem? What's the best? What's the best kind of good guy star player? Most of them don't really need one because they've got like decent runners and catchers and things, haven't they? I mean, Griff is amazing. He's expensive, but he's amazing. It's like what, 100k more than Hakflem. Hakflem is the scuzzy version of Morg. Yeah, almost. To be fair. Clive says there's a total of 4 Games Workshops in New Zealand, 2 of them are in the capital. I love our local Games Workshop in Southampton. I think it's brilliant. Generally speaking, they're a great bunch of guys as well. Very helpful. I went in there with Tiff before, and it was really nice. The guy there actually just engaged her as if she was a hobbyist. It was brilliant. She loved it. She was very happy with it. Let's get rid of that. Sound a bit more light to the situation. I mean, he was a bit optimistic. He asked her if she'd ever played Mordheim, which I thought was a bit. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a trap, if he was testing her, if he was testing me. Oh man, these guys, they make such a front line. Look at this. Got the troll, got all the boys. This is going to be sweet. Mostly just playing these guys so I can turn one of the goblins into a quarterback, which I know is incredibly subpar, but oh, it's just really fun. Right, let's do this in reverse order now. Do I need Null or do I need Agrax? I need Agrax. Let's take Agrax. Let's take some Agrax. I'm not going to Agrax the miniatures just yet because I think I've got some tidying up to do. Yeah, I've got some tidying up to do and some redding to do. What I am going to do though is paint this guy's base real quick so I can get it base coated and then glue him back on. There it is. There it is. There's the old brush, the basing paintbrush. Kind of everybody has. It's the one you. It's not the one you use for PVA, but it's the one you just use for garbage paints. Now, painting over sand, always like to water it down a bit, and using Agrax or Null is a great way to do that. Because it kind of just naturally thins it down while still adding shade. In fact, it actually helps with the undercoat because it gets in, just thins it down but also shades it at the same time. There's probably a contrast paint that would do this even better. In fact, I've probably got it. It's probably Dark Oath. Dark Oath is probably the best thing what I should be doing, but alas, you live and learn. I don't know actually if Dark Oath would make it too dark. Which makes sense given the name, I suppose. Talking of Dark Oath, the Dark Oath Chaos team's pretty sweet. The Dark Oath guys in AOS are pretty sweet, and does make me think. I wonder if Games Workshop will end up with a kind of Chaos Berserker team or Chaos, Marauder team at some point. I wonder what's going to happen with Norse. I don't know if they're going to end up as Vikings or as Chaos people. I like the Viking idea. And I love the Yeti. You guys know I love a big guy, but Clive says, one advantage of New Zealand stock at Games Workshop stuff sticks around. For example, we still have a lot of Blood Bowl pitches in stock with the stock. That is good. The old Blood Bowl pitches tend to be pretty rare and run out pretty quickly. What didn't I get? I didn't get the Necro one. In the end, I'm not too fast. I think I've got most of the other ones. The Amazon one and the Necro one, I think the only two I don't have. See, I say I buy them for the YouTubes, but actually it's good for tournaments. So I got like 11 pitches or something ridiculous. So it's like tournaments in the boot. We're good to go. Oh, I cannot wait to run tournaments again. That is because Ben and I are gonna do some streaming of them. We're gonna have the setup. We're gonna be able to switch cameras and stuff. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, guys, there's a chat going on in our Wobble group. Milton's asking, is the Ogre a better choice than the Minotaur for Chaos? That's an interesting one. I mean, you've got blitzers already. You've got guys who can blitz, I suppose. You've got guys who can blitz. So the Minotaur, does it lose its advantage there? Because if you don't blitz with the Mino, you're kind of hampered. Ooh. I mean, you guys know me. I love the Minotaurs. I need to paint this guy up at some point, but not until I've finished these 4 teams at least, I think. Yeah. Harjinder says, don't know much about the teams, but do you think we'll see a Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch team like the Nurgle Rotters one? Well, let's hope they're not like Nurgle Rotters. But yes, I can definitely see. Right, Games Workshop love Chaos. I think because the design. I think it's because it is so creative. There's a lot of creation space there, which obviously Games Workshop like. And yes, there's a lot of IP protection there as well, because Chaos, despite being kind of stolen from something else, is Games Workshop, isn't it? So they can make Chaos teams. Let's make the Goblins first, you know. Let's go for the Goblins. They can make Chaos teams because they're incredibly IPable. Absolutely. Booby Scoop, hey, how are you? Love the shows. Did you receive my scroll pick for Whip Wednesday? Undoubtedly so. Let's have a look. In the Gmails. This week's Whip Wednesday is going to be a chunky boy. I'm off Wednesday though, which is cool. My rotation goes that every now and again I have like 2 days off in a week, which is fantastic. And if those days fall when Tiff's working, I will get a lot done. So today I did some filming, got to look at the Charlie Victor human stuff. Here he is. Oh, that is superb. Oh, that's superb. That's hilarious. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh, and extra points for watching the podcast in the background, Mike. That's fantastic. Miles, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. So Khorne / Tzeentch teams. I can see Games Workshop doing Khorne in a kind of similar way that they did with the Nobility, like kind of being like, mine. It's mine now. I can see them doing that. Definitely Tzeentch and Slaanesh. Ben is adamant. Ben's gamble this year is that there'll be a Slaanesh team. My gamble is that there's going to be a Squig team. Actually, that's not fair. A Slaanesh player or a Squig player. That's what we're gunning for this year. Mitch, I'm thinking that an Orcish national team, calling them USA, paint them red, white, and blue. That's awesome. One thing we were planning on doing before the schism, not the worldwide schism, I mean the 2020 rules set, is we're planning like a series of Fumble tournaments with like a destruction theme, so like a green skin themed one where you've got like Gnoblars and Orcs and all the different Orc teams and stuff. But if you think about it, we've got Snotlings, we've got Goblins, we've got Orcs, we've got Black Orcs. What am I missing? That's at least 4 just pure green skin teams already. So like a destruction mini league with just Orc teams would be great fun. Hey Wex, what is your favourite team since the new edition, paint wise and or play wise? Hey, Paladin's here. Hey Paladin, how you doing? Right, favourite team since the new edition. Play wise, Underworld. They're just a different team now. They're practically a new team. There are so many positionals and stuff. Underworld, pretty exciting, I think, from a gameplay point of view. Miniatures. Snotling team is awesome. Like, it's really close though. We did the top 5 teams, and obviously Black Orcs, Nobility, and Snotlings are right there for me. What about you? What about you guys? The new edition, the teams. What's your pick? I am enjoying the Black Orcs. Ooh, but I do like the Nobility. I don't know. I think all 3 of those are really top notch. Right. What do we need to do now for the Gobbos? We need to do the Black, or yeah, we'll do the Black first. Paladin says Slaanesh should be more likely, make it similar to Khorne without making it official. But Khorne is Frenzy. I think what they'll do is a Savage Orc team to take the old Khorne roster, which will upset a load of people, but they kind of did that with Nobility. I can see them doing that. People Scoop, cool. I sent over pics of my Dwarf and Grim Progress 2. Yes, do it. I'm not actually going to play Dwarfs, but want to get another team painted. Hey, Scroll, And Grim Ironjaw can play for a ton of different teams. That's not fair. Skrull can't play for a ton of different teams. He can play for several teams, but Grim plays for anybody now. Dwarf for hire, seriously, and he's a good pickup at 2. What is he, 200k for a strength 4 Frenzy Dauntless? Yeah, Grim's good with multi-block and block. Yeah, I like Grim. Paladin, alright, got my AFC Championship shirt and a free RPG book today. Nice. What RPG did you go for? Clive, what are your thoughts on the Forge World Bright Crusaders team? I think it's cool. I regret not picking up the Orc one. And I imagine that when the humans go away, I'll regret not picking up the Bright Crusaders. The only thing is, you don't have enough for 2 teams. Because you need 2 team boxes. You need Blitzer 3 and 4 for humans. Otherwise, you're just leaving so much value. So them not having that in the kit, or not having enough pieces to upgrade, you know, that's so close. What I'd love to see, and might have to find a way to make this happen, is upgrade kits for all the teams, even if it's just third party. But I don't know how to do it, so don't know how to do it. I think that would be illegal to do it that way, so yeah, don't know. That'd be cool though. Favourite is Black Orc. Yeah, the Black Orcs are great. There's just a ton of potential there. I love the Bruisers as well. The fact that these linemen are supposed to be bad, but they're actually awesome. Like, really good. They barely feel like stunties. It's really cool. Poopy is thinking of doing a top 5 movement, strength, agility, passing and armor lists. Plenty of content right there for each stat, or is that too much content? No such thing as too much content, you know me. Blood Bowl is just there to be talked about, and it's good fun. And I love seeing all the comments that come back, and some of them don't always think I'm wrong as well, which is quite nice. I don't mind, it's just talking. Love talking about Blood Bowl. Wex, which star player would you advise for Black Orcs? What does a Black Orc team need? I should know this. I should know this. Right. Boom. I think I've got... I don't think they can take Hakflem. I think they're one of the few teams that can't take Hakflem. Right, Hakflem. Let's have a look at you. Where are you? Where are you? Right, Underworld. Yeah, they can't. They're Badlands Brawlers, aren't they, these guys? So I don't think the Black Orcs get a ton of stars. Badlands Brawlers, yeah. Varag's okay, but it's a very expensive way to do things. The Black Goblin's quite good, especially as these guys get cheap bribes as well. Yeah, Hakflem is not your guy. Glart is not your guy. Okay, that's quite an interesting choice. They don't get a lot of star players, but hear me out. What about Grak and Crumbleberry? I know I go on about these guys a lot, but Grak and Crumbleberry do give you stuff. They give you more stuff. I'd rather have Grak and Crumbleberry than the Troll if I'm going to do the throw teammate angle, but that to spice them up. Honestly, just having that guy with sure hands is going to help. But they don't really need much. They need something with movement 7 or 8. So when Scrapper Sorehead comes back, he is going to be king for Black Orcs. But only if he comes back, which I'm sure he will. Alright, here's the real question for you guys. Bomber, Dribble Snot, Fungus the Loon, we've seen the art for. So Bomber, Fungus, Nobbler, Blackboard, I don't know if we've seen the art, Scrapper and Ripper. Classic stars, they're gonna bring them back. They are going to. They just have to. How are they gonna do it? Is there gonna be like a star player supplement that's just like a £20 book of star player rules and some other stuff that only I'll be excited about? Or do you think they can't produce another Goblin team, can they? They can't produce another Goblin... Poopy Scoop. Death Zone. That would be sweet. Goblin Spike magazine would do it, absolutely. The thing is, they can do a Spike magazine. They don't need to bring any miniatures out. They can just make the magazines. Like, I've normally got some lying around. I love the magazines. They're great, and they're cheap, and they're just great fun. They're great content. They don't need to bring a whole new team out. But yeah, some Goblin or Orc book would be good. Spike magazine for star players, yeah, Clive, yeah, like a Death Zone, like a star players expansion. You know, like a codex that's just for star players. Spike magazine for stars would work. But you've got to have Ripper. Ripper's got to come back. There's no troll star player. Ripper, Fungus is too key, and we've seen the art for him. You've got to have Nobbler. You've got to have Dribble Snot. They're just too kind of iconic. Who else are we missing? Old Squiggy Boy. The Squig's got to come. The Squig's got to come. The Squig star player's got to come. So, yeah, maybe they'll just drop a book with 6 stars in. Don't know. Count Luther, yeah, I mean, okay. When they do vampires, surely Count Luther will come back. What other star players are we missing? We're missing kind of Ramtut, aren't we? The big Khemri dude. The big mummy. And Sindbad. I can't see them bringing Sindbad back. And I don't know, they're missing a lot of equity here. Wex says, what was your biggest achievement? On the Blood Bowl pitch. Having a 7-3 game was pretty good with Wood Elves at League, like in an actual tabletop environment. That was pretty good. First round of Beachhead, I was running Skaven. I filled in for a player who dropped. Yeah, Blood Bowl or best real life situation. Yeah, Blood Bowl wise, the 7 touchdown game was pretty sweet. I beat Rich 5-0 once with my Skaven as well. That was awful. Oh, I know the biggest Blood Bowl achievement moment was probably. I got one for me and one against me. The one for me, I was playing Exmabeard in when we were playing Blood Bowl 2. I had Nurgle. I think was it Nurgle versus Nurgle? It might have been Nurgle versus Nurgle. And my Rotter just like bounced through a ton of tackle zones, picked up a thing, did a pass. It was just awesome, an absolutely awesome touchdown. Really happy with that. And the best one against me was when we played, what was it? Lockdown Bowl, probably? And Rob Williams Day was playing the Noblar secret team and just Hail Mary passed this ball and got a touchdown. It was horrific. It was hilarious. I couldn't believe it had happened. Brad says Spike and card pack plus plastic star player 75 US seems like something they would do. Yeah, man. Brad, I hope you're right. Also, hi Brad. I've not said hi yet. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, there was a lot of rumours, or there was a lot of probably like hope when they started when we saw this undead stuff that there would be this brush is going to be too big for this one. That there would be a chance they'd do like a multi-pack of star players, like 4 star players for the cost of a team. You know, which would be amazing. Like they'd sell them. Paladin says, given my team the Chargers flipped yellow and blue. I like the Chargers. They played hard this year. Yeah, star players. I'd love to see that. I think that's a way they can kind of change up the game. I was talking to a guy at work about this the other day, like how to keep the game fresh, because they're going to want to keep the game fresh. They're going to want to keep it alive. Go Bears! Who's going to be the Bears quarterback next year, Poopy? Who is going to be the Bears quarterback? Are they going to stick with Trubisky? Or are they going to do some fandangling? Who's up for a trade at the moment? Deshaun Watson's up for a trade? Maybe. Stafford? That seems a bit great. Yeah, Trubisky, you may actually do a better job. I feel bad for Trubisky. Last year was awesome. Like, I was on the hype train as well. Because Ian Warhanam is kind of a Bears fan. Or was a Bears fan. I think he's hung up any kind of hope. But Trubisky played a couple of games real good, and I was like, ooh, we got a good little division here. This year, I don't know what happened, just fell apart really. Still, to come one game away from the playoffs is pretty decent. They're going to win the same amount of Super Bowls this year as Green Bay, so worried about Green Bay. They're running out of time with Rodgers. Well, I mean, he's not Tom Brady, is he? But he's still going to play till he's about 40. Do love NFL. Neighbour of the Orcs, kill Revis, nice. I know he's with the Colts, but he'll get. My middle name is Skrull. Dude, Skrull is going to be awesome. It's definitely going to be a thing. Like, that is going to be a team type. When someone says, hey, what did you run at the tournament this weekend? Saying Skrull X is going to be a legitimate thing. Like, oh yeah, Necro Skrull. Which, first of all, sounds like a wicked heavy metal band. But secondly, that is an actual team. Like, Necro Skrull is a team. Skrull, you know, Dwarf Skrull. Skrull Dwarfs. Like, this is just... I love that that's going to be a descriptor. And that he's not actually broken. He's just fun. Like, Necro are cool and all, but they don't have a lot of fun about them. They kind of have to play hard and focus. There's a lot of upside, but you've got to work for it. But with Skrull, you can just kind of roll the dice and see what happens, which I think is a pretty cool way of doing things. Clive says, last team I supported was the Jets. Ooh. Yeah, the Jets have had a couple of bad years. Let's just blame Adam Gase. Let's just blame the head coach who got fired. Let's blame the coach and assume everything's going to be fine next year. This Darnold's not all that bad. The quarterback they've got, I can see him playing well in the future. What do we got? Wex says, is there a big Blood Bowl community local to me? Yeah, I mean, we've kind of built it up. What have we got? Like 20 players in our league, kind of. They kind of drop in and out. We run an open league, so you don't have to attend every week. You know, it's more fun if you attend every week, but we're very conscious that real life gets in the way. So we have an open league. But it lasts probably, like, so if it's an 8-game season, we kind of give it 16 weeks. So you can come every other week and still get enough games in. What it means is that the regulars can run 2 teams, which means you get an A team and a B team, which is cool. Kind of get your team and then invariably a stunty team or something. It's pretty good. It's a good way to get extra games in with extra teams like that. So we've got a good league, and then sort of a 45-minute drive from us is in Toyman, and that's where another Blood Bowl league congregates. So there's a good chunk. We ran a tournament in January in Bournemouth, and there's 40 coaches, which was pretty good. Like, happy with that. It's one of the biggest ones in the south. I think it was the biggest one in the south last year. So that was quite cool. Do Games Workshop store in the UK stock Blood Bowl? In US stores don't. They do, actually. There's basically one bay of specialist games. So they're in there with Necromunda and Aeronautica Imperialis. There's just like this one chunk. So there's a bunch of teams and things. We're good guys at our local GW as well. I think it's quite an established store because it's been there for 20-something years. They're like, there's a lot of specialist games players. So I think Rod, the store manager, knows to kind of keep the stock in, because the kind of Games Workshop casuals like us will swing by and will get impulse purchases of specialist games, because it's cool. We were talking to Milton about this the other day. Like, picking up a Blood Bowl team is it's the same thing as picking up an expansion pack for a board game that you love, because then next time you bang it out, whether you're going to go to a tournament or go to a league night or just play a one-off game with a friend, you're just like, ooh, actually maybe this time I'll play this team. It just opens up your play options. And it's a hobby project as well, for a reasonable price, unless you're in New Zealand. Sorry, Clive. But that is absolutely crazy. Previous game could be worse. The Bears could be Bath Rugby. Poopy, do I prime the Necro team in white, Mechanicus grey, or black? I'm going to throw a curveball. Brown. Brown is the best. Oops. Brown is the best undercoat colour. It paints the model for you. But if it depends, if you're using contrast, got to be Mechanicus. No, white, Mechanicus grey, or black. Go for grey. It's going to be more forgiving. Dean's as a couple, yeah. Clive says I have a Tebow jersey. Tebow. Tim Tebow was awesome. He was like the underdog of Blood Bowl. He was just a really nice fellow as well. It was really lovely. Tebow time. That was a really exciting point in the NFL. It's just hope everywhere. That's wicked. I love Tebow. Stoney, how you doing tonight? You right? I want to get Scroll for my dwarf team, the Copperhead Smelters. Nice, good name, good name. I can see the dwarf passing game be a real thing. If the runners are movement 6, that's fine. So actually, sending your runners downfield, you're going to keep your rerolls because of the blocks, and all it takes is Scroll to make that cheeky pass play, to which he can add 3 once per game just because. Sweet. I just wish there was kind of more, there's like magic items and stuff, because if there was a cool way to add to like boost his strength one turn, that would be a pretty fun thing to do as well. Like, boom, this turn he has +1 strength, which then combines with his passing ability to add +4, and you're long bombing on like a 2+ or something. That would be a wicked combo. That would just lead to some very entertaining play, I think. I'd play that game. Dean says, love the old Jets quarterback jerseys. Pennington, Tebow and Sanchez all look cool, and look at me, I'm a sadist way. I think Tebow kind of sits at tier 2. You know, it's like Underworld used to be, but now they can actually play. Got it back in 2013, nice. I suppose brown is better for orange. Yeah, help me with this guy. And it's very forgiving as well. But that's down to me. I'm sure you're much better than I am on that one. So what's Blood Bowl missing? What do you guys think Blood Bowl is missing at the moment? From a gameplay point of view, from a miniatures point of view, there's a ton of design space. But people are always like, well, it's got everything. What more do you want? What more do you need? Which, by the way, there's always great answers to that. Oh, sugar, I forgot he needs a red shirt, not black shirt. I did this last time with this miniature as well. Oh well. 2 thin coats it is then, Duncan. I was painting way before Duncan, but it's just so meme worthy, isn't it? I paint orange over mech grey. You know what? That is probably better. Yeah, grey is actually a really underutilized primer colour. Because people are either like me, go for green or brown, you know, to get the core colour scheme down. Or go white or black just because they're traditionalists. Ian flips between white and black undercoats. I think he's going through a black undercoat stage at the moment. And of course Blood Tithe, don't even know, I think he just goes straight to airbrush to the Blood Tithe. Because He's fancy that way. Alright, we're doing okay, we're doing okay. Dungeon Bowl, Dean, yeah. I was looking at some stuff earlier that made me think about Dungeon Bowl and a way around it without actually having to use a dungeon. I've got a plan, you see. And so I was watching a Fumble game and I thought actually this would be really cool if there were just walls making little rooms. And I think that's something you could do and bust out pretty easily as a player as well. You flop out your standard pitch, you put some walls on there to make rooms. You kind of got Dungeon Bowl. It's not as cool, but it takes up less space. Mr. What do you think? Should Games Workshop make Blood Bowl in a future new edition any better? I like the new one already, but do you think there's any improvement? Well, Wex, I like 2020. It's not perfect. No game ever is. You know, old Blood Bowl was pretty good, but having your catchers be as good at throwing as the throwers actually was a bit of a problem. It was simpler, but it is a bit of a problem. So I do like that that's been, you know, quote unquote fixed now. There's a couple of things I think they could improve, but they can kind of improve it. I think it's just down to the stats and the teams and the costs, but there's no reason they can't do a compendium every year and just adjust the team costs. They do it with AOS. I can see them doing it for Blood Bowl, because actually that would make some of the other teams more competitive. Like actually they could increase the cost of this player, or they can fix the stat on this player, or change a skill on this player. Just a little tweak to the game every year would be really cool, I think. Never played it, but always fascinated by it back in the day. Dungeon Bowl, yeah, it's a game that you gotta, if you play it by the rules, it's not as good as it could be. There's a better way of playing it. Normally you've got 6 treasure chests, one of them has the ball, that's it, and you get that ball and then you score a touchdown, the game's over. 6 chests, 3 of them have balls. This is the best way to play. 3 of them have balls and you just play on until a timeline, like 16 turns or 3 touchdowns. Like, way more exciting. Getting 3-0'd in Dungeon Bowl that way is brutal. Nope, you're far better. I do not even have the patience to layer, base, wash, start. Dude, that's me. This is why I'm doing the stream, is so you guys can keep me going. App, which I appreciate incredibly, by the way, thank you. In League Star Player Draft. I'd love to do that. Priming for me is black with white Zenith. Yeah, that's a really solid way of doing it, Stoney. I think that is what Ben does, actually. I think Ian did that for he's just on the Loon Shrine for Age of Sigmar, which is like this massive goblin mini castle. It looks like something that, I don't know if you guys remember Mighty Max, it looks like that. Bring back the best game ever, Kiss Chase, Stuck in the Mud, and British Bulldogs. Well, British Bulldog was amazing. What was it also called? I can't remember. Yeah, Bulldog was sweet. Arata can sort out the teething problems. Yeah, exactly. Brad, have you got a copy of Blitzball with the statues on the field? No, actually. I do need to pick it up. Tiff said she's happy to play that. And I think with the rules, I think that would be better for her, because there's no maths involved. Now, don't get me wrong, she can do maths, she just doesn't enjoy it at all. They say opposites attract in that regard. Double Dip says, I'd like to see some new Blood Bowl trophies from Games Workshop. The old 2nd edition metal trophies were a nice touch. Yeah, that is a really cool idea. They've got the referees. The referees don't have rules, so they're clearly not against having miniatures without rules. That's the dream. Bull Rush. Nice, yeah. That's it. Stoney, I'd like to see something unique for, say, famous stadia in Blood Bowl. So, for example, one particular stadium might have booby traps in the form of sleeping swamp dragons or squigs exploding. Yes! I think I like where Stoney's going here. There's like other elements to Blood Bowl on top of the actual Blood Bowl game bit, isn't there? We were saying this in maybe the Discord or something the other day, where what they haven't done yet is have on-pitch non-player elements. I know that sounds a bit boring, but like, think about it. Having a Gnoblar team with Gnoblar trappers, and if you buy a trapper, it can place a trap token. A trap, you know, and you've got a base that's a trap, or, you know, something like that, and then it kind of, you can do that. They do that in Underworlds. They don't actually have trap tokens. They don't have miniatures, but they have tokens. They haven't done that yet. I can see them doing that, and stuff like a pit trap and things would be bang on the money for that. Poopy Scoop, really want to make a Squig team, 100%. I've run one using the Stunty League rules at Mana Bowl, and it was so fun. I came second, so close. You know, I think the Vampire team, you know, Animal Savagery is exactly right for that. Bonus points if you can name all the trophies. Well, there's the Blood Bowl, but there's the Chaos Cup, and I think one of them, is it the Chaos Cup that got renamed? So, like, was it renamed from the White Skull Trophy to the Chaos Cup or something? Hang on, there's 4, isn't there? So there's the Spiky Cup, there's the Dungeon Bowl, there's the Blood Bowl, there's the Chaos Cup. But one of them, I think the Chaos Cup, was the White Skull Cup or something. The refs are the biased refs, so they have rules. Yeah, but they don't have on-pitch rules. You know what I mean? Like, they just, you don't even need a miniature for that one. Like, I think you should have a coach miniature technically, but I have yet to see one actually. Actually, it's not there. Richard's got loads, but you know. Come on, Double Dip. What are the trophy names then? Wex says, how should the Blood Bowl box season 1 new edition and future look like? Any miniature or team wishes. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they'll go the route of creating a new box set every couple of years like they do with the other systems. That would be a pretty cool way to get more stuff out there. You know, I wonder if there was a lot of people who thought that this one would be Amazons and Norse, because they're both realistically quite simple to play. Right, I've lost my detail brush now. Do I want a detail brush? Which brush do I want? Let's use a base brush. What would Duncan do? What about you guys? I mean, I'm very happy with this start set for now, which is cool. I'm very happy to be happy. That's a nice place to be, better than I thought. Poopy Scoop Dungeon. Ooh, doing a Dungeon Bowl box set would be incredibly cool. I would be, understandably, I think, all over that. Right, actually, another thing that I would be over the moon with would be a Blood Bowl 7s box set. Like, that would be awesome. I think Blitz Bowl's done kind of well, so I think there's a market there for smaller games. Excuse me. And Underworlds. Why am I painting this? This is red. This is supposed to be red. Don't paint it black then. You're a silly man. And that needs to be armour as well. Oh, I've got some tidying to do with these guys, I think. Yeah, a 7s box set would be awesome. You know, 7s cardboard pitch, double-sided, couple of teams. They'd have to give full 11s teams, but I think that's not a bad thing. You know, having it be the same price as the 2020 box set would be outrageous and unnecessary. But, you know, 2 teams on a pitch would be sweet. That'd be absolutely sweet. Just finished my Black Orcs. Solomon, how you doing? Such a fun team to paint and play. I am relatively enjoying painting them. I'm not good at batch painting, so I'm leaning on you guys in chat to keep me sane while I do this. But they are so fun to play. Couldn't agree more. I don't know. I've not played against them yet, actually. I've only played with them. and I very much enjoyed that. I look forward to the challenge of playing against them as well, because I think they're going to be scary to play against. I think I'll just shoot for the goblins most of the time, try and MDK them. Murder, death, kill. It's the way to do it. Right. You make your own head coach minute. Yeah, but you don't... Like, it doesn't really have any rules, does it? It doesn't do stuff. It's just there to be removed if you roll a 1 when you argue the call. Which is fine. Like, that's cool enough. Double dip. I think you got it right. For some reason I thought one of them was the Mithril Cup. You know, I've heard of that. That sounds like something that exists. I wonder if one of them got renamed that as well. Maybe it's the Spiky Mithril Cup. But I don't know if they are allowed to use Mithril. No, they can use Mithril, can't they? No, wait. Is it Mithril in Lord of the Rings? They had... High Elves had Ithilmar in Warhammer. But, quite frankly, that's a rubbish name for a cup. Dwarves wear Mithril, don't they? Do they? Don't know. Got myself confused then. Got my own head coach, assistant coach, cheerleaders and mascot. See, that is doing it properly. I think having a head coach miniature should give you +1 assistant coach points in the game. You know, I know that it is technically pay for an advantage at that point, but I don't know. I like the idea of that. It would definitely get some head coaches at that point. Maybe they need to. Actually, that's something else I want to talk about on the podcast as well. At some point, is having having head coaches that do stuff for your team. Like specific coaches. I don't know whether it's because we're going through the NFL coaching roulette at the moment, where everyone's like, oh, I want this defensive head coach, I want this offensive head coach, and you just got advantages to each of the coaches. And I think hiring a specific head coach could be a cool way to add stuff to your team. Stony, quirky thought for BB, a wizard team might be interesting, like old football soccer teams, old Etonians or Terry Pratchett's Unseen Academicals. Yeah. Wizards on the pitch is definitely something I would love to see. And you could kind of do it like their secret weapon. Once they cast a spell, they get sent off at the end of that drive, but if they don't use a spell, then you don't know. I like the idea of having on-pitch wizards. I think we talked about it on an episode of the podcast as well, where you basically get a wizard for half the price. It comes with like worse than lineman stats, like strength 2 garbage, but it's half the price and it can cast the spell when it's on the pitch, and you just get a player, because it would be really sweet. 75k for a fireball, but you have to have the miniature on the pitch, so your opponent's like, oh, actually, I need to blitz him quickly. I need to take the wizard out before it gets to use its spell. Again, it's just a cool way to add more miniatures and more design space to the game. It doesn't need it. Like, the game is superb already, but you know, the competitive format is in a pretty good place. And when it's in a pretty good place, you can afford then to experiment around the edges, and that's why we started the podcast, is because there was just, you know, there was the NAF top teams, it was Wood Elves, and there was a meta, and that meta had been in place since before the dawn of time. So we were like, well, what else can you do? Like, what else can you do to have fun with Blood Bowl? Now we're doing both. Sane, waiting for the body slam through the table. Wizard team for the win, says Booby Scoop. Absolutely. You know, mostly apprentices. I'm surprised that's not on Fumble, you know. The Fumble crew. Yeah, they're my kind of people. There's a few weird teams on there, but in fact, I stopped by last night while I was watching the Halflings Bretonians game, and Exmobeard and Monic were in the middle of a weird stunty game. Dust Goblins versus a Noblar team. It was just nonsensical. It was awesome to see these different players and just bombs and crazy blitzes and stuff. It was just awesome to see. There's so much design space in Blood Bowl. All they have to do is take a couple of bits out, or just tweak a couple of other bits, and it changes everything. So Wizard team is what I'd love to see, a Wizard team. And they've not done it yet either, so there's no third-party versions. But you know how quick Grebo is. Which I wonder is how much that affects how Games Workshop does things. Yeah, Stoney's got it. Blitz the Mage? Which one? I think that would be cool. Difficult to track, perhaps. Or, you know, if a wizard uses its spell, it gets sent off immediately. Otherwise, you'd have to track who's cast the spell or not if you have multiple wizards. Right, what's fabric and what isn't? Is that fabric? That is now. And then that needs to be fabric as well. And then that's not fabric. Alright, cool. I think I've got it. I think I've got the plan. Let's do this then. Let's do this. Yeah, I like these miniatures. They are good. They've got plenty of detail, but it's low detail. So if you know, if you're a newer painter or you're just speed painting, you can leave it one colour without it really without affecting the whole miniature. I am a fan of that because normally I'm painting teams on a Friday night before a tournament. That's kind of how I roll. When I did the last series of 7s, I think I painted them all like the 2 days before. I recommend against doing that, but it did get me some 7s teams painted in a very quick amount of time. Didn't get a lot of sleep, but you know, sleep is for the weak, as they say. Right, as the troll. What does the troll need? Ugh. I need to do the white on the troll. I'll come back to that, I think. I'll come back to that. Well, we'll carry on block painting. I'll be good. Normally by this point I get distracted by another miniature and wander off and start painting up something else. I still haven't decided on a name for the Necromantic team. And I think the name's going to help me kind of with the paint scheme as well. Actually, here's a good one for you guys. Which way around do you do your team? Do you name them first? Do you come up with a scheme first and then name them linked? Do they not link at all? Or because we're going to be talking about that on the podcast this week, actually, on Thursday. Brad says, league rule for head coach, no argue the call without miniature, and he can come in at any point as a free journeyman, but if he dies then you permanently lose a reroll because the training got worse. Dude, that's a brilliant rule. That is a great rule. Okay, I'm gonna one further, Brad. One further. You choose your coach. He is a player type that you can take, but doesn't. So if you're on a human team, he could be a blitzer, he could be a thrower, he could be an ogre or a halfling. But he comes in with like one lower stat of everything or something, or a nega trait, just something. So he's like old and retired, you know. It'd still be cool for your head coach to come on as like your reserve thrower. If it all went to heck. That would be sweet. That would be really cool. That's a great rule, Brad. That is great fun. I think I'll have to put that on the list of things to talk about on the podcast because I think Ben will appreciate that as well. That's actually brilliant. Clive says, done it both ways for the namings. Yeah, I'm not sure which I prefer. Alright, I'm gonna do a thing here. I need some more paint. And I'm doing the fabric, so I'm gonna mix up some grey. Some black grey, in fact, with some Nuln oil. Which I think is very much akin to mixing up Lahmian medium into stuff, basically. but this will help the paint flow and it will pre-shade it. This is what I always used to do, and then they brought out the contrast paints and I was like, hey, that's much better, and then subsequently failed to buy a lot of them because I'm silly like that. However, mix them up, it's fine. I love this black grey. This black grey is great. It's like a go-to colour for Forge World. Not Forge World, for Flames of War. Like every gun is black grey. Every gun. Never thought about having a troll as my team coach. Not sure how would that go down. Hey, it's a free troll. A free strength 4 troll. You know, that could be a thing. That could be a useful thing to have. You know, it comes on the pitch. It's got leader, but you know, it's like -1 strength or something. -1 strength. I don't know. I think strength is probably more of an advantage than agility and stuff. So maybe -1 passing and -1 strength. So they can't throw great. They can't brawl great because they're old. Probably -1 movement as well, and yeah, probably -1 agility. So yeah, just -1 everything. So you're bringing on a movement 3, strength 4 troll. It's just like a worse Black Orc. A much worse Black Orc. Don't know then. Kind of turned off that now. Mark, hey Mark, how you doing? After coming back to the hobby, painted my Black Orcs first. Great to do. Finished my Nobles. Ooh, that's sweet brags there, Mark. I like it. What schemes have you gone with them? Finished my Nobles, Ogre and Griff. So doing my Troll at the minute. Fantastic. The starter kit, the starter box is awesome, isn't it? If you're just starting into the game, you get the Ogre, you get some stars, you get the teams. Like, you get 2 absolutely brilliant teams. Like, it's actually a bit of a pain that they haven't released them separately yet. Oh, guys, hear me out here. They are going to release them separately, and the Black Orc one will come with a Spike magazine with the Badlands star players in it. That's how they'll do it. What do you think to that? Conspiracy theory. Games Workshop conspiracy. Oh, goodness me. Hello, camera. Conspiracy theory idea. Paladin says, depends on the team. My Necromantic team was team first. Chaos was scheme first. Team or scheme. There you go. That's the segment title. Battlehawks and Guardians were field. That's fair. That's fair. Stony, when creating teams, it's a mix for me. Sometimes scheme race name, sometimes name race scheme. For example, thinking, of a werewolf-based team at the moment. Got the name Lunden Howl. Nice. But I like that. You come up with a name, then you start building the story, and then, you know, the colour scheme can kind of go with it. Or they've got a colour scheme in mind, and the name comes from that. I actually think that play style is also, can also, like, guide how you do your team name and feel as well. Because there's just some teams that, like, a pink and yellow scheme would have to have a story on a Black Orc team, you know? That would be quite funny. But, you know, you'd expect them to have a story behind it. Or just that you used a random colour generator. Which I have used before. In fact, I built a spreadsheet that comes up with a random name and a random primary and secondary colour for your team. Because I thought it would be fun during the beginning of the apocalypse to, like, brew up leagues. Just create leagues with a single click of a button during meetings. It was good fun, actually. For coach, if positional, then add to TV half difference of the lineman and positional rounded up to the nearest 5k. Brad, you are my kind of coach. I like that. So halfway between the lineman and the positional. So a troll coach on a goblin team, which kind of thematically makes sense, would therefore be, what's that, 75k, half it, basically 40, 80k then. 80k for a troll coach. Tell you what, we could take this up a notch as well. What if it's any positional from any team? You know, the ogre coach of a goblin team, and the wood elf war dancer who's retired and is now the head coach of a Skaven team. Like, think of some cool story. There's some cool story there. Right, I've lost the chat. So my head is in the way. I'm creating a so Stony says Paladin depends on the team. Necro, yeah, yep. Colour of my first team, just going with my college colours, purple and gold Skaven. Nice. Stony, not sure a scheme yet. Yeah. Box colours for orcs, green and white for the nobles. I'm kind of going the green and white route. It's more of a teal and grey, but you know, with some, I'm gonna have some orange. I'm in like an orange mode apparently. Not sure why. For coach, if you don't have to pay the difference. Just increase the TV to create more chance for an opponent inducement. Nice. Yeah. Double Dip says we have multiple teams for many of the races in Blood Bowl, so how about a new variation of another existing team? Maybe a Plague Month Skaven team, skilled and statted accordingly. Double Dip. Now you're talking. Did you prime your All Black Orcs in Nurgle Green? No, I did them in Leather Brown. I did, however, the humans. I did prime them in Death Guard Green. And I did that with my Fanath Dwarfs as well as my spaceships. I've got some even bigger ships on the printer at the moment. And I'm very excited. But they go away for now. They go away. Progress on the Forge World Thrower is now in painting mode. Fantastic. Animosity in the case of cross race. Yeah, actually that would make sense, Brad. Death Guard Green, yes. Love Death Guard. Nurgle Green is Death Guard Green, like 100%. That's the same people. Right. What do you mean, you people? Tropic Thunder. Don't know if they can show that film anymore. What do we got? What have we got? Right, Double Dip. Oh god, there's just so many good topics in Blood Bowl, isn't there? So I like what Double Dip is suggesting here, and I am a huge fan of this. And I'm a little bit surprised that G-Dub haven't kind of explored this route yet. So let's think about it from a corporate point of view. Let's be as negative as possible here. How can Games Workshop sell a player another box of the team? By having more positionals than come on that on the roster, right? So let's think about all the positionals you can get for 2 boxes. So there's a couple of teams, so Skaven and Humans and Classic Orcs are they're already 2 boxer teams, aren't they? So there's a load of flexibility there. You know, imagine a team where you can't take gutter runners, but you can take 4 blitzers instead. Imagine a team where you can take no blitzers, but 6 gutter runners instead. Or, you know, no gutter runners and extra rat ogres, but no throwers or something. You know, there's just like a ton of variety there. Because, and they wouldn't need to make any miniatures. They've got them. All it would do is inspire people to buy more of the miniatures that they already sell. For one, which is cool, but secondly, we as players wouldn't need any extra miniatures. We wouldn't need any extra teams. We wouldn't need them to produce extra boxes of stuff. It's just like, oh, well, I guess I am going to pick up a second box of something. You know, imagine a Nurgle team where you could... Yeah, Nurgle's not a good example, really, is it? You already have to get 2 boxes for the Pestigores, but imagine a Nurgle team with no Pestigores and just extra warriors. Like, 0 to 6 warriors and rotters. Just awesome. Just loads of cool stuff they could do. And all they have to do is just tweak the positional balance. You know, a Wood Elf team with 4 War Dancers but no throwers or catchers. Maybe this isn't a good idea. You know, or you know, there is just a lot of stuff they could do without even changing the miniatures. I think we need to look at this. A dwarf passing team and dwarf thrower and dwarf catchers. Scroll must have developed somehow. Absolutely, dwarf catchers. What would a dwarf catcher look like? Just a runner with catch and sprint, kind of the halfling route. Halflings with extra hefties, yeah, exactly. That's cool, actually. The pro halfling team on Fumble, I think it's only got 1 tree, but has like additional positionals, and they've got like some strength 3 dudes, I think, or something. It's just cool. Ian ran them, and I played against Pug in Mana Bowl 3, and I drew with him. And if I'd won that game, I would have won the whole tournament with a completely irrational Squig team. I blooming love that Squig team. Dark Elf, you need the second box for lineman due to the cost of positional. That is sadly true. But you also need the second box for the 4th blitzer, for the 3rd and 4th blitzer. Yeah, for the 4th blitzer. So I think a lot of the teams are double boxers, but there's a few that aren't, and I think they could do more there. But I think we'll see more of the OWA or Underworld route. That's something I'm looking forward to seeing more of. We did it for Hangover Bowl and it was awesome. I'm not just saying that because I got Skaven and Dark Elf and we're 3-0. That was good fun though. Some great matches. Milton ended up getting a human and lizardman team and went like a conquistador theme. Oh, it was cool. Ben had Nurgle orcs. That was cool as well. Mixed teams are just where it's at. Mixed teams are definitely where it's at. Right, what we got? Your prediction for Pro Bowl, NFC or AFC? Well, they're not having a Pro Bowl this year, are they? They're just doing like a skills thing. I do think that the AFC is just stronger than the NFC at the moment. Like well, you know, the Steelers went on an absolute rampage until they essentially, like, I don't know, just committed suicide on the pitch. Weird one, that one. Really weird. The Steelers were looking ferocious, as you like. No, I think AFC has it at the moment. Despite how well Rodgers is playing, he just couldn't pull it out against the Bucs. It would be fun to see Brady next year play on the NFC side of the Pro Bowl, though. I'm just not sure there's a lot that guy hasn't done yet. Alistair, how you doing? What's your thoughts on Blitz Bowl? Should there be more of a progression for characters from it into Blood Bowl? Blitz Bowl is the Warhammer Underworlds of Blood Bowl. They're kind of, yeah, there should be... That would be really cool, wouldn't it? I do think Sevens is probably better suited for that kind of progression from one to the other. Maybe from, you know, but I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know there was progression in Blitz Bowl. I thought it was fixed stat. I am interested in properly trying out Blitz Bowl though. I to track down a copy. Somebody did send me the first edition copy, but then we had to move out in a hurry because of our psychotic neighbour, and it's in storage now, which is an absolute blooming shame. So I need to track down one of the American copies. There's a really helpful guy on Facebook who's got a guide on how to do it, but it seems like, quite a lot of work and quite a bit of money. TD Custom says, I love Blitzball. Just finished teaching someone how to play, actually. How did it go? Clive said, just realised Deep Root is $100. Good lord. Right, it's a big boy though. It's a big miniature. But honestly, that is crazy. I think we'd be far better off just getting that 3-pack of Kurnoth Hunters. They're Games Workshop miniatures, 3 of them. They're £35 a box, so in New Zealand money, that would be $60, $70. And you get 3 trees, which is your core 2 treeman and then 1 guy to be Deep Root. Rather than $100 plus. I imagine that postage from Forge World is not great either. That is crazy. That is crazy. It's tough to be a halfling coach in New Zealand. Stoney, playing devil's advocate, would multiple types of teams for a race dilute the feel of playing that race? Yes, it would. And you know what I think? It's the kind of thing that would be for like a sub league. Like they had the Lustrian League in the Lizardman Spike. You know, they could do a Skaven League and be like, hi, if your league wants to play this, the Skaven League allows these teams. In fact, the Stunty League in the Halfling Spike, you could do a Skaven League. Okay, Skaven and Underworld teams can play, but there's also these adjusted versions. So it's kind of like a little hobby thing. The thing is, when it comes to Blood Bowl, you get the proportion of time thinking versus playing is significant. So Games Workshop, all they really have to do is sell us ideas, and then we do the rest. You know, because I have got more teams than I think I'll ever play. Maybe I need to. Maybe I need to challenge myself a bit more in playing more teams. Maybe I will, you know, when we open up. I do want to play a season with Black Orcs just so I can get a Goblin quarterback. But maybe I'll just bring a new team to League every week, get a game in with every race, make myself a badge. Because of the NAF have stopped doing them. Right, I think that's all the black I need. Everything else on there is going to be red. Right, what have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Hey Josh, how are you? Do you think Blood Bowl is best played when it's super tier balanced or when it's crazy random RNG? Everyone I play with seems to think the game is going too far one way or another. Interesting. I think that's what makes Blood Bowl so great, is you can attempt to play it in a hyper competitive way, but someone else can want to RNG the heck out of it, and I think that's why people get a little bit perturbed by Snotlings. I mean, when we look at the tournament results from last month, there was a Snotling team that 4-0'd a human team. Just absolutely crazy. It can happen. Ian beat Lewis's Lizardman 6-1 with Goblins. Like, if everything goes right, you can do it. But I think Swiss fixes that so much. First round is random. Some tournaments match up the first round by tier, which I think I'd like. Is if you're going to play, you know, if you're going to be a win at all costs Skaven coach, actually you're going to end up in tier 1 like a tier 1 grouping with dwarves, you know, on your first match. You don't get that first free victory like, oh sweet, there's two Wood Elf coaches, one of them gets paired against dwarves in the first game, one of them gets paired against halflings. You know who's winning that. So it's, you know, I think in a tournament setting it kind of balances out. In League, again, it kind of balances out. It's what you're playing for. So those guys who play real tight, you know, who run Dark Elves or Dwarves or Chaos Dwarf, who control their risks, they're still going to get ruffle stomped every now and again by someone who's rolling hot. What do you think, Josh? Because that's a really good question, man. Hunters are $115. I'm just going to put it out there. I think that means that they're 115 for the 3 trees, or what was it that we said? 220 for 2 trees and deep root. Depends where you want to go. TD Custom, the Blitzball game went well. I played Pro Elves and won 24-9. Awesome. Pro Elves are pretty great at passing, makes them loads of fun to play. Nice. Stony, how much are 3D printers in New Zealand? Yeah. Yeah, we had this chat. But fair play to Clive. He likes to play at his local games workshop, so wants to be legit GW miniatures, which I think is great. Ian Warhannam Hannam paints, you know, he paints a load of Games Workshop stuff, and he's been featured on their community several times. He was going to be in White Dwarf as well. They did an interview with him, but the apocalypse hit, so he couldn't go and get his. It's a tough one. It's kind of his lifelong dream to be in White Dwarf, because I mean we've been playing Games Workshop games since we were. I got him into it by showing him my gyrocopter when I was in year 3 with him, so we would have been 7, and that was when he was like, wow, this is amazing. Went straight in with Night Goblins, and he's been a greenskin player ever since, really. Is it weird that 2+ throwers can't throw inaccurately? It seems like the chart doesn't work properly. So inaccurate is the scatter, isn't it? Wildly inaccurate is the deviate, and the fumble drops it in spot. Is that right though? Is that right? Isn't that what happened with the FAQ? Let's have a look. I've got it here. Here we go. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, and let's also reread the question. Is it weird that 2+ throwers can't throw inaccurately? It seems like the chart doesn't work properly. So if they roll a 1, they fumble. If they roll a 2+, it's an accurate pass, is what you're saying. There's a few NFL teams that would have that be a pretty reasonable expectation. I think either poor Phil Rivers, who has retired, he was a 2+ thrower, but he would occasionally fumble. Real good. He's retired now, which is exciting. He's retired to coach high school football, which I think is awesome. Can you imagine? Can you imagine your high school football team being coached by a 17-year pro NFL quarterback? That would just be amazing. Like, yeah, my coach is Phil Rivers. Like, that's just awesome. Right. Anyway, let's back to the question here. Yeah, Poopy Scoop. That is the correct answer. Warlords of Erwin Treeman. And I've got 2 boxes of those because I was building up a Treeman team with cool little spites. Right. If a player with PA 1+ scores a 1 for passing ability test after modifiers have been applied, is it still an accurate pass? Yes. Nice. So let's go pass. Yes. If the roll is not a natural 1 but reduced to less than 1, is it inaccurate or wildly? This will be wildly inaccurate. Oh, I see. So they roll a 2, it gets reduced to a 1. That is therefore an inaccurate pass. If it's a natural 1, it's a fumble. If it's less than 1, it's wildly inaccurate. Oh goodness, I don't know why they made it that complicated. The FAQ messed it up. They can only throw wild, success or fumble. Really? Really? I'm not sure. If that's a -1 to the pass. Let's get the old book out. I'm sure this is great footage now. Sorry, guys. But this is interesting. Right, where's the pass? Because it's going to come up, isn't it? It's absolutely going to come up. Picking up the ball. Throwing the ball. Here we go. Inaccurate. If the passing ability test is failed. Fumble. If it's a natural 1. Wildly inaccurate if it's a 1 or less, essentially. So if they're a 2+ passer who rolls a 2, but they're in a tackle zone, it becomes a 1, which is less than the passing, but it is greater than 0, therefore it's an inaccurate pass. If it's -2 at that point, it becomes a wildly inaccurate pass. Is that right? Paul Hayes. Hey Paul, what's the best way to get someone like a wife in on the madness? If you are in a country that sells Blitzball, then Blitzball is probably a great start. Failing that, go for 7s. Blood Bowl 7s is awesome. Tiff played Blood Bowl 7s with me when we were in Tenerife on a holiday. Took my little Dark Elf team and Skaven team and I rolled up a Bonehead 7s pitch. And played a game there after spending all morning in the pool. It was sweet, like probably one of the best days of my life. It was cool. It's the only game she's really played, but I think she'd prefer to play Blitzball because there's less like maths. You just look at the Blitzball stat. I think Blood Bowl 2020 is going to be even better in 7s now because there's no agility 4 equals a 2+. You know, you don't have that. It's just what's their passing stat? Oh, it's a 2+. So you need a 2 or more, but -1 here. Like, it probably becomes a bit easier. Stoney says, who was the high school coach who became a major league pitcher? I don't know, that's cool. Paladin says, my junior high school had a former Royal shortstop for history and softball. That's cool. Just brushes everywhere. Orkster, how you doing, man? Just managed to rejoin the stream. Got a bit of hobby time, so this is great timing. Trying to finish off my Necromunda gang. Oh, fantastic, Orkster. Brad, in Nashville, we've had several former Titans players go on and coach at the local high schools, but no one of the Philip Rivers level. Yeah, that guy is, he's pretty decent. P. Smitty, you need to see throwing charts. Someone has made one with all the possible results. It defaults to wildly inaccurate instead of inaccurate. Ooh, interesting. We'll have a look at that in a sec. Stoney just looked it up. The high school teacher was Jim Morris. Clive, probably need to get Grack. Finding one is the hard part. And Tiff is on her way home. That's awesome. Finding one is the hard part. Yeah, Grack is tricky. Do they make it anymore? To be fair though, I was going to say, to be fair, any ogre plus a little guy with a bit of conversion would do a good job. Josh, honestly, I love the game as it is. Sometimes think my friends forget Blood Bowl is meant to be fun. I'll take unbalanced weird teams like Snotlings and Ogres compared to all Dwarf Wood Elf leagues. Absolutely, Josh. Completely agree with you. It's the kind of game that whatever you want to play, you can do it. Like, and the cool thing is because of the offense-defense element, generally speaking, you will get your chance to play your game. All right, if you're playing stunties, you will get your chance to throw a teammate for a touchdown if that's what you want to do. If you want to kill fun, occasionally, like I do, and play Skaven, and you know your game is defense, you get the chance to do that. If you want to control the pitch with Nurgle and dwarves, you will get your chance, and that's what's so good about it. It can go wrong, it can go right, but you'll get your chance to play the way you want to play, and I love that. Paul Hayes, Blitzball was the harbinger. Mark players' passing skill goblins as awesome as they deserve to be. Amazing. Love to do that. Simar says, if you want Grack and Crumberry, I think Willie's miniatures is the best around. Yeah, they're not bad actually. Right, I know I'm painting, but we're going to have a look at this Blood Bowl throwing chart now. Blood Bowl throwing chart. Let's have a look. Alright, of course, it's all it's all Blood Bowl 2016 stuff, isn't it? Right. Let's check out the Grumble. Alright. Yep, can't see it. But I know someone had done it, because you're right, I saw it as well. It might just be on the old Facebook community. Let's have a look. Let's go to the Blood Bowl community. Let's go to the Blood Bowl community and have a look. Let's have a look, because I'm intrigued now, because that seems crazy. What we got? Crack and Crumbleberry. Yo, hey Phelps, how you doing? Phelby. Stony, BB has an FA Cup feel at times. You'd always get giant killer teams. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Every game is a game. There's no gimmies. And I think where kind of the top tier have dropped a bit and stunties have gained a bit, it's kind of closer than it ever has been before. Phelby just messaged me. Oh, sweet. Nice. That contrast on the skin. That is looking good. Right, let's get rid of that. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, I've lost it now. I was doing so well. No, it looks really good. P. Smitty says you can find it in the Facebook group. There's every result for every thrower. Did you ever play Dungeon Bowl or Crunch? I didn't play Crunch, but I played a lot of Dungeon Bowl. Both the old A4 like original stuff with the tiny squares, and also that's horrible, and also using dungeon tiles from Warhammer Quest. Right, should we go passing chart then? Let's go passing chart, and I'll bounce it up onto the screen if I can find it. Nope, that isn't it. Hugo Rodrigo Zapata. You can see the discussion here. Oh, blooming heck, where are you? Blooming Facebook. Why is everything so hard to find? How much is a second edition polystyrene pitch worth? It was painstakingly painted by a child. Hey, Snotling Wizard, first of all, great name. You can still sell it. I think you'd still sell it to somebody who would love a little restoration project. I've still got mine, but unfortunately, I did the whole polystyrene cement to melt it to add like damage, which I regret now. That's not it, so let's try throwing chart. Let's try the throwing chart. I'm intrigued now. And 2021. Oh, there's a squirrel team by Flick McConnell. I hadn't seen that. I saw it as well, you know, I saw it. Because I remember thinking, oh, that's good work. Where are you? Because you're right, breaking down the math a bit, if there is some circumstances where it just goes straight. Is it with 1+, I wonder? Damage, how dare you, that child was me. Alistair, I flocked my 2nd edition pitch with Grey Flock I stole from Dad's model robot. Right, so I got into gaming because of my cousin, and he had a bunch of train stuff as well. And there's still jars in the shed of like weird Grey Flock, Red Flock and stuff that I used to absolutely love. Absolutely loved using that when I didn't need to. It's by Hugo. Okay. Hugo. There are many Hugos, but this one is ours. Oh, there you go. Thank you. That was awesome. Right. Okay. So let's do a thing real quick. Kind of giving away the next top 5 list there, but we'll ignore that. So, oh, it's the wrong window. Of course. Is it this window? It is this window. There we go. I can't see the chat obviously anymore, so let's get that sorted. So all the pictures of Jackson Pollock inspired Blood Bowl pitch. There should be more Blood Bowl art, like art. Okay, so we've got. So yeah, you're right. Passing 2+, rolling a 2. Is that right? Is that right? How is that right? That. Come on, guys, help me out here. Alistair says, still have it too. Keep thinking about redoing it and having overgrowth and give it a more disused feel. I think there's probably a market for 3D Blood Bowl pictures. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I don't know. From what I just saw. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so you're passing 2+. You're passing 2+. I've lost the page. Come on. You're passing 2+, and you roll a 2. It becomes a 1. Oh yeah, it does. No, the FAQ fixed this. The FAQ fixed this. Or at least the FAQ words it different. So I don't know if it's ever fixed anything. Actually, I don't know if Games Workshop FAQ has ever fixed anything. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Alright, this is valid. Here we go. When making a passing ability test, if the roll is not a natural 1, but is reduced to less than 1, yep, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, that is so sad, guys. That is sad. Yeah. Maybe it will be fixed in the May one, and to be fair, there probably won't be a lot of tabletop before anyway. Snotty Wizard, 2nd edition was so cool, it was literally a stat. 2nd edition was good, man. Like, there's some great stuff in 2nd Ed. They had a load of creative stuff as well. They had a load of cool articles where you can have ambles and crazy monsters in Dungeon Bowl. It's just, it's where we're headed, I think. I think it's where we're headed again. Okay, so hear me out. What if wildly inaccurate was less than a 1. That's it. That's all the change that they'd need to do, surely. Because in those charts, that would be all they'd need to do. 1 hour turn. All right, maybe not so much. I think they can fix it easily though. People had some suggestions like -1 is, but yes, exactly, Peace Media. That's. I've got to admit, that's what I thought it. I guess that's what I kind of in my head thought it was anyway. If it's not, it really ought to be. Right, which brush do I need? I need this brush. Alright. That's good. Right, let's get rid of all the brushes. Come on, Ben. Yeah, that is stupid, actually. I mean, I know they've changed it up, and throwing is now interesting. I think if they could have achieved what they wanted to do with a lot less work, you know. Simply changing the passing modifiers already did a lot. And if they just gave every quote-unquote thrower accurate, or just, you know, +1 to throwing or something, like if you are a thrower you get +1 or something, it would have just fixed the whole situation anyway. However, I do like that the gutter runners are now not better at throwing than the thrower. That, in a nutshell, does enough for me to correct the game. That makes it worthwhile as a whole big change. So, yeah, I like it. And if passing does become too rubbish, all you've got to do is just, and the NFL fans all like this one, is just use this following rule. Overinflated ball. +1 to all passing attempts. But if the ball scatters before hitting the ground, or if it bounces twice instead of once, because it is so jolly boingy. There you go. Congratulations, guys, we've just fixed the passing in Blood Bowl. Go us. Games Workshop, you are welcome. Make it so. Gosh darn it. I'm basically necromancing this paint back to life because I got distracted by looking at stats. What have we got? I think they can easily fix it there. Yeah. Whoa. What are those mushrooms on the base? Well, I have a 3D printer, and when I print stuff, I have a little box of loot, and I just chuck these little strips on to fill out the space. So I end up with an absolute ton. That smells. Ton of just like these strips of shrooms, which I think are wicked. So I do this, and I've scaled some up, so they're like 3 times scale, so you can stick them to stuff. I've scaled them down. I did the same with spiders, and with some candles and some braziers are bras. That's hilarious. Yeah, I haven't 3D printed any bras, so can't imagine that'd be comfortable. So I've got that on this team, and there's little spiders on all of my necromantic team, because it's a spider themed team, so each one of the necromantic team has got 3D printed spider somewhere on it. Just doing that, and when I do the underworld team, they're getting little mushrooms as well, but they're going to be growing warpstone mushrooms. Brady, there you go, Peace Midi. Tornado warning. Oh, okay, fine. Hopefully you mean with the throwing, not in where you are, because that would be bad. And that would be bad, Paladin. So could all the teams do deep ball offense? Now they can't, no. They can't. How many shrooms are stuck to the pump wagons? You know, I don't know actually. There's a ton already on there. I didn't bother gluing anymore. I do love the pump wagons. In fact, I got another box of Underworld in the post yesterday. Not Underworld, of Snotlings. One sprue, one half of it is for me for Underworld, so they can have the 0 to 6 Snotlings, because I think that's going to be a really important part of that team, especially if you're running the Rat Ogre like I am. Having those swarming players to take the brute, the brunt of the Rat Ogre going wrong is going to be massively useful. Oh no, I painted over the skin. Gosh darn it. Well, flip flop. That is a pain. Fiddlesticks. Snotling says, I print dimensionally occasionally. Where did you get the STL? It's free on my Mini Factory, actually. It's free on Mini Factory, my Mini Factory. It's a little RAR folder, and it's got like a bunch of different types of mushrooms. Honestly, it's so cool. Like, this is one thing I've really loved about 3D printing, is you can just print little bits of gubbins and like little candles, little spiders and stuff. Just really adds a bunch of cool things. I mean, I don't know if you guys know AOS, but there's that giant spider kit. The giant spider, the Arachnarok spider, which is good naming to be fair, comes with a bunch of little spiders, and those little spiders go on the second-hand market for an outrageous amount of money, because Games Workshop just doesn't do spiders or little like greebly bits like it should do. They'd make a ton of money if they just like, here's a blister of stuff. They do the skulls and things, don't they? But you know, spiders and whatnot. Pretty giant spiders in Blood Bowl, by the way, guys. That's why I want little things on the pitch like Noblar trap tokens. I think web tokens would be good fun as well. And when we look at doing some Dungeon Bowl-esque rules, we're going to have that. That Mimics have got to go in there. And we'll try and get a Beholder in there as well, because, you know, got to get the tropes, haven't you guys? Wandering monsters in a dungeon, that's where it's at. I'm not being as careful on this as I really should be. Right, I've missed a bunch of stuff now. Sorry, guys. Clive, what I'm in the UK next? I'll probably bring one of my teams. Do it, Clive. Let's get a game in if we can. Milo, you can put those bras on your Ogre team. I didn't get the... Just got it on my hand. I didn't get the Forge World ones, so they're just gamer level bra needing, really. Nothing too serious on that one. Terrifying miniatures. Yeah. Alistair, do you think Games Workshop will ever make more sideline miniatures? I think a couple of stretcher bearers would be cool looking, or a maniacal looking orc apothecary. The cool thing about orcs is the 40k range would basically work for that role. Whether it's a shaman, you got between AOS and 40k, Games Workshop actually does have you covered. But because orcs have got that about them, I've done it again. Maybe I need to use one of those painting handles. You know, Games Workshop have got you covered with mad orc stuff, especially like goblins, you know, because they kind of team up, don't they? So between, if you want it for a goblin team or an orc team, you've either got a goblin or an orc that's going to do something, especially when it comes to shaman. I think that's what someone said earlier about having wizards on pitches would be great, because then you get a chance to get those sweet miniatures from AOS or something on the pitch, and that is just a really cool thing, because you get to own more cool miniatures, and that's really what it's all about. More cool miniatures, more cool rules, interactions, opens up the game a bit for some craziness. That's what it's all about. Stody says, if I had a team with spiders on them, I think I'd call them the Redbacks after visiting friends in Adelaide. Should I Google Redback Spider? I probably shouldn't. Cooper Stokes has got it right. Snotling Wizard, 3D printing is the only way to put 20 Snotlings on a pump wagon, as Nuffle intended. Interesting. That's interesting. I haven't considered doing that. I don't know if you could do it in Chitubox or whether you'd have to use like Blender or something. I have done some I've done some sculpting. I've sculpted an ogre's head and printed it, and it's on a miniature. It's on a miniature that I can't show you guys just yet, but we'll be showing you soon. and had a good time doing it as well. I think I've done the black. I think I've got a bit of detailing to do, and we're done with the base coat for black and gold and skin. Then it's reds. Excuse me. I like the red backs. Spider riding snotlings. Come on, who doesn't want that team? Tentacles or prehensile tail. Prehensile tail probably. And then some of them will have leap or pogo maybe. That'd be cool. Peace Midi. Super Bowl should be great. I've even learned to not watch the halftime show. Yeah, I'm gonna be watching the Super Bowl with Tiff. We've both got the Monday off, so we can stay up and watch the Super Bowl. Tried last year, but I ended up getting the flu and ended up going to bed at like 9:30 in the evening. Super Bowl didn't start till like 1. It was really disappointing. I'm one of those people that gets ill whenever they have time off, so I try not to have time off. So I just constantly got a cold, but you know, I'm a massive geek, so people probably just think there's allergies. And you know what, guys, it might just be allergies, but that's okay. Oh, come on, we're nearly done. We're nearly done with the grey here, guys. This is awesome news. So, what's your pick for the Super Bowl then, Peace Midi, and everybody else? You got the Chiefs, and we got the Bucks. Now, obviously, after losing to the Buccaneers, after the Packers lost to the Buccaneers, I do want the Bucks to win it all. And because of the Tom Brady story, like, that's just, I mean, I hated watching Brady when he was on the Pats because the Patriots always won. But now he's not on the Pats. It's just a really cool story, and I do think I want him to win. And the fact that Gronkowski came out of retirement to help, it's just such a cool story. Like that, I would, you know, that is like a Blood Bowl story. I don't know. You know what you guys were talking about with the coaches, like coming off the sideline and being on the pitch earlier, having like a player come out of retirement instead of a journeyman could be really cool. You get like a free blitzer, but he comes in with loner and a stat decrease, and it's kind of like just down to your luck. Hey, Tiffy May.
There's a horse wandering around outside.
There's a horse wandering around in the road?
Yeah. What do we do?
What the heck do we do? Guys, this is hilarious, but we've got a horse wandering around in our drive. So I was going to wrap up shortly anyway. I am going to bail. I call the police. Yeah, I think we might have to call the police.
I'm so sorry. I'm just a bit worried about it.
Yeah, no, that's fine, sweetie. I think that's fair to be worried about. What a hilarious ending. Right, guys. What's the punchline? I don't know. I'll put it on the feed. Right. Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I really appreciate it. Poopy Scoop says it's illegal for a horse owner to let out a horse. I've dealt with it myself. Why the long face, Clive? Amazing. Guys, I will catch you later. I'll pop a little update on the social media later on. But thank you for keeping me company. We'll try and do this more often.